patrols are ongoing, though residents say armed groups still operate at night. The curfew imposed on Karim Lamido town and more than 10 surrounding villages has now been eased. Retired Major General Danjuma Ali Kefi has revealed that a directive from the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari abruptly halted a large-scale military offensive against bandits in the northwest and north-central regions in 2021. The former general officer commanding 1 division and head of the Covert Operations Service-wide (OSW) made the disclosures in a detailed account of internal power struggles, alleging sabotage and policy choices which, according to him, crippled the fight against terrorism and banditry at the time. Ali Kefi said his appointment as commander of OSW, a specialized interagency outfit focused on terror financing and high-level intelligence, was based on recommendations from intelligence chiefs, including the heads of the DSS, NIA, Defense Intelligence, and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. But the process reportedly angered the then Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. He recounted a tense late-night meeting at Buratai's residence in November 2020, shortly after news of his appointment broke at a National Security Council meeting. During the encounter, he said Buratai questioned his suitability, asserting that the task should instead go to Army headquarters, and demanded all intelligence gathered be handed over to the Army. Days later, Buratai allegedly changed course, offering funds and logistics support to OSW. Ali Kefi, however, declined, suspicious that the vehicles and other assets might be compromised with tracking devices or booby traps. He said the internal friction marked the beginning of a deliberate undermining of OSW's operations. He further claimed that after his arrest and detention under the previous administration, there were credible intelligence reports suggesting a plan to frame him on trumped-up charges of treason with intent to execute him by lethal injection or poisoning. The retired general accused top officials in the Buhari administration of involvement in illegal mining operations, networks he claimed were tied to banditry and kidnapping across the northwest and north-central region of the country. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has once again taken into custody Nigeria's former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, who's also a senior advocate of Nigeria, just days after his initial interrogation by the anti-graft agency. Sources confirmed to journalists that Malami was arrested late Monday night and was reportedly struggling to meet the stringent bail conditions set by the EFCC that same night. Investigations revealed that Malami was actively searching for 2 serving permanent secretaries to stand as sureties, a critical requirement to fulfill the bail conditions for his release. This marks Malami's second detention in quick succession. He had initially honored an invitation on Friday, November 28 to clarify certain issues and was granted bail, but was almost forced to spend the night in custody due to the conditions. Malami later confirmed his release from the first detention, stating on his official X handle that the engagement was successful and he was eventually released while on an appointment for further engagement as the truth relating to the fabricated allegations against me continue to unfold. End quote. Now, this reported rearrest comes amid Malami's strong public dismissal of the core allegations leveled against him by the EFCC, which center on the recovery process of the $310 million, later $322.5 million with interest, Sani Abacha loot. Malami dismissed the EFCC's claims that he duplicated a recovery process allegedly completed by Swiss lawyer Enrico Monfrini before Malami assumed office in 2015. In a statement issued by his media aide, Mohamed Doka, Malami described the EFCC's claims as baseless, illogical, and devoid of substance. He concluded that any claim or investigation suggesting abuse of office or money laundering in relation to the $322.5 million is not rooted in any reasonable ground for suspicion. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break and return with the news analysis segment where I'll be joined by legal luminary barrister Asim Adams for his opinion and analysis on the issues in the news this afternoon. Stay with us. I've been joined via the telephone by legal luminary, Barrister Asim Adams. How are you doing today, Barrister? Good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us on the World News at 12.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon also.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's actually begin with the latest development, which is the government of Burkina Faso actually grounding a Nigerian military aircraft that landed in the country. Now, they said the Nigerian military aircraft had they were not supposed to land actually in Burkina Faso. They had no clearing to land. They had no clearing to even pass through the Burkinabe airspace in the first place, and they're saying that they would detain the aircraft for now until an explanation is given. The Nigerian Air Force spokesperson has come out to say that they were actually going to Portugal, they were going to Europe, and were passing through, not that they actually meant to land there. Now, while we're talking about this, Niger Republic has also manned its borders. They've released more border patrols, saying that any goods, especially miscellaneous goods coming from Nigeria, must be thoroughly inspected before passing through into the country. What does this tell you? Would you say that there is a deepening distrust from the Sahel state to Nigeria, especially seeing what happened in Benin Republic on Sunday?
All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Barrister Sim. Please go ahead.
See, let me tell you, every act of aggression against Nigeria by the countries you mentioned, should do what I call retaliation. Because you see, the Sahel countries, they are taking Nigeria for a ride. And that should not be the case. You see, when an aircraft has a problem and is flying to Portugal and there's an immediate engineering problem that needed emergency landing, you do not need clearance from that particular, airport or security, as the case may be, because for safety purposes. And that is why they are saying that explanations will be given. And of course, under the ICAO and air travel, treaties signed by countries, that is the normal that will happen. So if they are making a meal out of it, it is because they want to test the will of the Nigerian government and the Nigerian people. Now, due explanation should be given. I support a situation where due explanation be given by the Air Force or whichever military aircraft that they used. Once that explanation is given, that is for safety purposes, and they still want to detain the aircraft, Nigeria should take very swift measures against those countries. That is the first thing I will say here.
All right. Talking about these measures being taken, it is on the same day that we are hearing that as the Burkinabe forces are grounding the Nigerian aircraft, Niger Republic is also taking measures again against Nigeria. We're all part of ECOWAS, or they used to be part of ECOWAS, and then they left, saying they formed the Association of Sahel States. They said they don't want to be part of ECOWAS anymore. This is happening while Nigeria's president is the chairman of ECOWAS. And that's why I'm asking if you would say that these Sahel states have a kind of distrust towards Nigeria. Now, many of these states have actually condemned Nigeria for sending air troops, for sending aircraft to bomb the coup plotters in Benin Republic. Even though Nigeria said that the president of Benin Republic asked for our own help, Nigerians are saying we should deploy this kind of firepower against terrorists. The Sahelian states are saying, look, these coup plotters, these people who carried out this attempted coup, they were only trying to save their people from imperialist powers. And so some of them might actually have seen the Nigerian state as colluding with foreign powers against their own benefit. Is that the reason why we are seeing this? Or if that did not happen, if these countries did not pull out of ECOWAS, then if they see a Nigerian aircraft hovering over their airspace or landing in their country, then there would have been no issue.
There would have been no issue if they were part of the ECOWAS, the countries. Now, coming to Benin Republic, Nigeria has a defense treaty with Benin Republic. And the defense treaty is not just between Tibu, it's between Nigeria and Benin Republic. And whenever the president of Benin, activates such treaty, the Nigerian government, is quick to react. A good example was this. Let me tell you, you know that Obasanjo, during the ECOMOG time, when there was, a problem in Liberia, Nigeria moved in there first before ECOMOG was formed. Because these countries have treaties, the ECOWAS treaties that they have. And once there is problem in any of the countries within the ECOWAS sub-region, that the president of the troubled country has the right to call on the neighboring country to assist in quelling. In this case, the Benin Republic, president activated that particular treaty and called on President Tinubu. Nigeria did not just go there on its own to say they want to go and help and quell, the insurrection that was, going there. It was the president of the country or the prime minister of Benin that called on the Nigerian government through the president for help to, repel the coupists, as the case may be. And based on that particular treaty, the government of Nigeria had to, respond to it as a neighboring country. Not just a neighboring country, Benin Republic is a close ally of Nigeria, and economically, socially, religiously, we have boundaries and we share common affinity. Now, in the terms of Niger Republic, of course, cannot let them do the ranting. If they let them close their borders, they will be the one to suffer. Because about 90% of what Niger consumes, even electricity, comes from Nigeria. So if Nigeria decides to close their border and cut off supply of power to this particular Niger Republic, what is going to happen to them? So they are just ranting, in my own opinion. But that is why I'm saying that whatever they do, because these are hostilities against the country called Nigeria, the president must not, look askance or hands akimbo. He has to retaliate, in equal measures, to these countries that are rebellious and are hostile to Nigeria as a country. That is what we are suggesting.
Would you say that this hostility is due to the fact that they were sanctioned by ECOWAS after coups were carried out in this country? When the Nigerian president was the ECOWAS chairman, he handed over in June, right? So this hostility is because they support the coupists in Benin Republic.
Therefore, they funded the coup in Benin Republic.
They funded the coup in Benin Republic. Why would you think they did that?
That is. I am speaking from the understanding of what the information we gathered. Now, their aim and intention is that they want to colonize. I use the word open and close. Colonize, the ECOWAS sub-region to make it a state that is being run by the military. That is their aim. If you look at Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, it's being run by military regimes. And they will not be comfortable dealing with countries like Nigeria that has civil, administration, Ghana, Cameroon, etc., as the case may be. Even though they are not doing well, but nobody, even the United Nations, has gone against taking power by violence or by coup. They say you change government by the ballot and not by the gun. So if they are acting and they are taking government or power by the gun and not by ballot, then they're living the life of recluses, as the case may be. Nobody really want to associate with them. Forget this braggadocio they are doing. I know people who are in Burkina Faso who are regretting leaving Nigeria for that place. They can't even come back to Nigeria now because there are so many things you can't do in Burkina Faso, as the case may be. Forget the media hype that they do around here. Is it Mali? Mali is an impoverished state. Is it Niger Republic? The state of Lagos, the budget of Lagos is bigger than that of the Niger Republic. Rivers State budget is bigger than that of the Niger Republic yearly. So these are countries that are just flexing their muscles. The reason why they are doing this is because Nigeria has not stamped their foot on ground to now say, look, we want to do what we call retaliation. In diplomacy or whatever they call it, retaliation is allowed. If, for instance, they seize our aircraft, our own government has the right also to do one or two to close their embassies or seize whatever the asset they have in Nigeria here. So these are things that the government of Nigeria, I think they are considering it because they know that they don't want to kill a fly with a sledgehammer.
So what about this Western imperialist conspiracy theory? Yesterday we had two people discussing from Western media on how it was on the orders of the French President Emmanuel Macron that President Tinubu actually sent air troops to Benin Republic to push out the pushes, to push out the coup plotters. Would you say that countries like Burkina Faso and Niger, that there is this palpable fear of maybe espionage, there's this fear of being used, of Nigeria being used against them, especially now when we know we share a land border with Niger. We literally have people from Niger who live in Nigeria without proper documentation. We have people from Niger who live in Nigeria who have NINs, they have BVNs, they live in Nigeria as Nigerians due to our porous borders. But now they are saying they want an in-depth revelation. They want a full-scale investigation into every goods coming from Nigeria. But Asim Adams, they want, if you are carrying a truckload of goods to Niger, every single thing will be brought down and opened for them to be sure that nothing untoward is coming from Nigeria to them. And also, of course, there's terrorism in the country.
We are underrating this country called Nigeria. And our leadership is the problem we have. You know, a country that is proactive would have taken proactive measures and, kind of retaliatory moves against the Niger Republic. So that all these things they are doing, because this flexing of Moses will not be there. How can Niger be telling Nigeria what to do when Niger depends on Nigeria? If Nigeria places sanction on Niger for about 3 months, you see problems in that country. It's a country I've been to. See, if you go to Niamey is just like a glorified town in the southeast. They depend on our economy. In fact, do you know the Nigerian naira is a medium of exchange in Niger? Some of the biggest businessmen in Niger Republic are Nigerians. So it's just that our government is being lackadaisical. I don't know why Tinubu do not want to take those actions. Preemptive ones are retaliatory ones.
Say they've not given a reason. Isn't the threat or the terrorism that is currently going on in certain areas in Nigeria a good reason for them to say, we want to inspect these goods, let's be sure that there are no proliferation of weapons into their own country?
Nigerians like when you run your country down. That is the problem. Many Nigerians like because of bad leadership. When you run a country like as great as Nigeria down, you don't blame those who do that, because the leadership they are not doing what they are supposed to do. Otherwise, Niger should be an annex of Nigeria. It's just like Benin Republic is an annex of, forget about the demarcations or administrating whatever you have. Ordinarily, Niger should be part of Nigeria. If we have a dictator in power that is ready to annex territories, he can annex Niger the next 14 hours. So it's just that I don't know how to explain this. Our president is just maybe he's treating the issues with kid gloves and say, oh, what are we going to do? Let us not use the sledgehammer to get whatever. If Nigeria should close its borders and Nigeria should withdraw even the supply of electricity to Niger, because about 80% of their power source is gotten from Nigeria. The economy of Niger is run by Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, and even some parts of Nigeria here. So if Nigeria decides to wield those powers and withdraw those economic whatever, what is going to happen in Niger? There will be regime change. But I don't know why we don't want to use such enormous powers. America cannot tolerate this kind of thing.
Are you advocating for Nigeria to use some of its powers against these smaller countries? That is to show that it's bigger than them?
Absolutely. If a minnow should challenge a giant, the giant should beat that minnow and deal with him. If possible, exterminate, that aggressor who never respected the size of the giant.
But why do you see it as a challenge, though, and not as them trying to protect their country and citizens? Or is it because it is the military in power in those countries?
Are we not supposed to protect our own country because we are large? So if you have external aggressors like Niger, they are so belligerent. The president or prime minister or whatever, the head of state of Niger, Mali, they always talk ill about the country called Nigeria. Do they have such rights? If they have such rights, do we not have such right to repair them also? You can't live with hostile neighbors. That is the problem is they have today. They are living with hostile neighbors. So are we going to allow them to put pepper in our eyes before we react? That is the question me I'm asking as a Nigerian. So when you know a Lilliput is trying to challenge a giant, and you tell the giant he cannot react because it's a Lilliput, are you saying Nigeria should not react because they are small states, whereas they might make some incursions into the country? Chad, during Buhari time, when he was military head of state, are you aware that Chad, under Idris Deby, had the temerity and audacity to even make some incursions, military incursions, into part of Nigeria? Within 4 hours, Buhari, as head of state, ordered Nigerian troops to repair the attack. They went into Niger and next half of Chad. Was it not ECOWAS that came to Chad's rescue and pleaded with Nigeria to release the territories that were annexed during that war? So we should use our powers, very well and accordingly, not minding whose ox is God. That is the truth. That is what I am advocating that Tinubu should do right now. He should not allow these small countries to begin to point hands at Nigeria and challenge us.
Wouldn't that lead to more hostilities, though?
It will not. It will not. It will not. America had to fence their boundaries when they found out that from Mexico, etc., people were crossing into. Nigeria can do the same. So it's just that we need leaders who are proactive, leaders who really want to do as leaders should do in Nigeria here. For a great country like Nigeria. Forget the country is a great country, so that we have very bad leaders. So when people begin to talk down, you are happy that a small Niger is talking to Nigeria the way they like, because you hate the leadership of the Nigerian government. Yes, I didn't vote for them, but I will not allow and sit by as a citizen, watch a Nigerian citizen talk down on Nigeria. I will immediately respond.
But Barrister Asim, some would say this is also you talking down on the country. You've called them a small and minute country who should not be talking to a giant anyhow.
I reiterate, and I stand by it.
Barrister Asim, you know that these are literally our next door neighbors. Should we really be starting a fight with them?
Now, if your next door neighbor does not respect you and wants to start a fight with you, will you say because it's your neighbor, you allow him to kill you?
But if they are not making military incursions, if they are not actively trying to cause problem in the country.
If you seize a country's aircraft, because the Nigerian jet, the jet that was seized in Burkina Faso has, the name of that jet is the Nigerian flag that is flying. Are you aware? Every aircraft has the name and the flag, and the flag they are flying is a Nigerian flag. So if you capture the Nigerian flag and keep in your country, what is that? That is hostility. You have violated the territorial integrity of that particular country.
But ask him, you know they did not come to Nigeria to carry that aircraft. It literally landed in their country.
That is what I am saying. That is what I am saying. That if it landed there and they have given an explanation that it was for safety purposes, why still keep it and ask Nigeria to explain?
Can Nigeria afford to start fighting its neighbors when we have not fought terrorism and insecurity and the terrorists that are inside causing problem for us?
If Nigeria want to go into war, if a good leader, a leader that is proactive comes in, you can fight Niger, fight Chad, fight Cameroon, all the insurgents and terrorists will go back. They'll run away. Terrorism in Nigeria is not being fought the way it should be fought. That is why you see it's exacerbating, proliferating. If Nigeria want to tackle and fight insurgency and terrorism, within 2 months they will flush them out and drive into Niger, drive into Chad, drive into Burkina Faso. They have the powers, they have the financial wherewithal, the clout. If Nigeria want to do that within ECOWAS, they can do it. But they are playing politics with it. That is why it's lingering. That is why it is lingering. The politicians are collaborating with the terrorists because they need them for electoral purposes. During election, have you heard about bombing? During election, they vote in remote villages where these terrorists operate and bandits operate. Have you heard about kidnapping in the polling units? Even local government election. That tells you that politicians work with these people. So if they are not working with them and they really want to be above board I am telling you that within 2 months, let me say 30 days or 60 days maximum, a Nigerian leader that is determined will flush out terrorism and terrorists from all the forests in Nigeria. But they are collaborating with them. That is why we are having this problem. They are playing politics with it. That is why it seems we cannot defeat them. Who said so? Who said so? Tinubu had to use the Air Force to quell coup in Benin Republic. Why has he not used similar force to now bomb Sambisa forest within Nigeria here? That tells you he knows what he's doing. Instead of working in hand with them, he doesn't want to destabilize or step on toes that will hurt him during the 2027 election. You understand? So if you have a leader who is very objective and proactive, what is all these things? You can jointly take on these 4 countries. Population of Niger is up to 38 million. The Burkina population is up to 90 million. Mali are they up to 100 million. When you put the 3 countries together.
But Barrister Asim, many Nigerians would much prefer that we channel these our gigantic powers into fighting internal terrorists that are threatening the security and peace of the nation.
That is what I am saying now, that they are playing politics with deep. Not that they don't know what to do or how to, curb or reduce or even exterminate insurgency and terrorism. They know what to do.
All right, Barrister Asim. Barrister Asim, let's talk about something else. There are reports that the EFCC has rearrested former Attorney General of Federation and Minister of Justice, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Abubakar Malami. Now, these are, just allegations. We've not heard from him yet to know if this is actually true. Sources are saying that he was in EFCC custody last night and he was running around trying to perfect his bail conditions, trying to get 2 permanent secretaries who can stand as shorties for him. Now, we do know that a few weeks ago, that was about on November 28th, he was actually invited by the EFCC. Then it was an invitation. He went there, he had a conversation, or in his words, an engagement with them that was successful. He says he was eventually released and he went back home. But he's talking about that every allegation against him is actually fabricated. Now, one of the reasons why the EFCC wanted to talk to him was about the recovery process of the $322.5 million Sani Abacha loot. Malami is claiming that he saved the Nigerian state between 15% and 35% of the recovered sum by rejecting a demand for 20 to 40% success fee and $5 million upfront deposit, opting instead for a local law firm on a transparent 5% success fee basis. So basically, any claim or investigation suggesting abuse of office or money laundering in relation to the money is not rooted in any reasonable ground for suspicion, according to Abubakar Malami.
Can I interject you because of time? Let me tell you, he explained that to you on social media. But you have been arrested. Why can't he go to EFCC and explain that to him and ask EFCC to charge him to court so that he goes to that court to prove all these allegations? Why is he explaining them to you on social media? Why is it that whenever a big man is arrested in Nigeria, or the press houses will begin to rally around for his support that you say is opposition? Yaya Bello, if for instance now they go after him, now maybe he goes to ADC or PDP and they go and arrest him, people will begin to say because he went to APC and ADC or PDP. That was why EFCC had to go and arrest him. The question we are saying, Malami, are you corrupt or not? You can't prove yes or no on social media. It is the court that will determine whether he's guilty or not guilty. So how is he coming to whip up sentiments on social media and people are buying into it? Are you explaining to me? If you can explain to me on social media, your media aide can come out and explain. On Facebook and other social media platforms. Why can't he go to EFCC? I have been to EFCC, I have taken clients there, and EFCC saw that they did not commit any offense. They apologized to them and released them. Now, if EFCC is pursuing you, and at the end of the day you are not found guilty, you have the right to sue EFCC. So what are all these things? Why we play politics with corruption?
But Barrister Asim, is that to say you do not subscribe to the school of thought that believes that this is political persecution due to him being a part of the ADC coalition?
Obasanjo told Peter Odili not to contest. People say because he is against him. People is not, they are not talking about the corrupt. Is the man, did he steal the money? Did he steal? This is the question that we should be asking. Whether he belongs to PDP or APC or the government is pursuing him, a thief is a thief. A thief is a thief. If you stole money and I'm going after you, forget whether you are PDP or APC. The thing you should be telling me is that, look, I did not steal this money. You bring your evidences before the police. The law says when the police or any of these agencies invite you, report yourself and explain yourself there. They will grant you bail and you go. Ayodele Fayose was arrested. He was charged to court. Was he not freed by the courts? When the courts found out that he had no case to answer? So why should Malami, who is a lawyer, a high lawyer for that matter, should go to social media and be declaring himself? This is an objective question should be asking. The narrative is coming too fallacious. It's too faint. It's opposition. Like, why have they not arrested Rauf Aregbesola, David Mark? Why have they not gone for P2B? Why has EFCC not invited P2B? Is he not in opposition disturbing the APC government? Because P2B hands are clean. He who goes to equity must come with clean hands. So when you begin to say, you are not saying I didn't do it, you are beginning to explain to me. Isn't it? Take your documents you have and save us this time and we are spending talking on this thing. Take your documents to EFCC and table them. You will not stay more than 2 days or 3 days in their maybe their detention under question and investigation. So why is he doing that? Is it not his former agent of the country should know the legal process? Please take me to court. If you feel I've committed something, take me to court. Fayose did that. Fayose went to, when he was invited, he went there and said, please take me to court. Showore has done that. Omoyele Showore, he is not scared of being arrested. When he tell you that I didn't do anything, he goes there. Before the next 2 days, they will release him, and because they don't find anything against him. When they run away and say, because I'm criticizing the two guys, so they're arresting me, it will become somehow. These are questions we should be asking ourselves, please. We should be objective. I know that the administration are not supporting them. They are not doing well, but it's becoming this staccato of, nuances and whatever. Once they pick you up, use that as a cover, as a masquerade. Because I'm in opposition. That does not remove the fact whether you are a corrupt man or not. A thief is a thief. So these are the things. So what are we talking about? An armed robber is caught, he say, they caught me because I'm a Yoruba man. That is the reason why they caught me. It's not whether you stole or not stealing. It is the Igbo man that is in power. That is why they arrested me, and vice versa. Is that what we want to hear? These are emotions. These are sentiments. Law has gone beyond that. There should be substance. It should be different from form. But what we listen to most times is form of the law. Because we already have a sentimental mind. That whatever the government does is that they are doing it. And so what? Even in the United States of America, Donald Trump has hunted opposition. In Ghana, in South Africa, we've seen that happen. So what? So these are questions that should bother our minds. Absolutely so. I speak my mind all the time. I don't care whose ox is God. And we must understand that Nigeria will outlive all of us. Because an administration is bad today does not mean if we put our tentacles on ground and say no, 2027, we want to vote in a man that is respected and love Nigeria, we can do it. So don't allow these politicians who are fighting themselves to distract us. We know exactly what we are doing. Should I go and be clamoring for Malami now, who has amassed wealth? And now to the general of Nigeria having houses in the US, how much is his salary? In Dubai and other places? So how much is this? They are calling to come and explain. If it's an ordinary man like me that EFCC arrested and I go to any media house, will people listen to me? Will anybody fight for me and say because I have criticized Tinubu, that is the reason? Nobody will do that. We're always protecting the big men in Nigeria. Nobody's asking them to go and pay for their sins. Go and explain to the body that, is investigating you. Of course, as a former AG of Nigeria, he should go Adoke. Mohammed Adoke, former AG, was he not tried under Buhari? At the end of the day, he was even arrested from UAE back to Nigeria to come and answer questions. But look at the court found that he didn't do anything and he was set free. Please.
All right, then. Barrister Asim Adams, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your perspective, and thank you for your analysis on the World News at 12. Yes, enjoy the rest of your day, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Burkina Faso has grounded the Nigerian military aircraft over airspace violation. Nigerian Republic to inspect goods coming from Nigeria for security reasons. Fresh violence leave many dead in Taraba State, and EFCC allegedly rearrest Abubakar Malami. That is a wrap on the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. Good afternoon to you, and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Matters will come up at 1:30 p.m.